We've got you covered. This is News 4 Tucson.
All right, welcome back to our continuing coverage of Pima College athletics. Pleased to be joined by the athletic director at the college, Jim Monaco. And Jim, more disappointing news, obvious today, a second week of cancellations of sports. Give me an overview of where we stand right now and how you guys are assessing these situations and making the decisions on whether or not to play.
So the administration is looking at county numbers, and they're using the AIA guidelines, which the AIA is not using because our high school sports are playing. They're really trying to be careful. But like I said, our high school sports are playing. A lot of our other JCs are playing. So it's really kind of disheartening. We're working really hard on trying to change this and see how we can come to a mutual agreement to get them to play.
So who all is involved in the decision-making process from the standpoint of how your situation is evaluated? Is it
really the decisions are made at the chancellor level and our governing board?
Right. So is there a set metric? Is there a number? Like, what can you tell me about? We need to be below this level in order for our games to begin.
Well, they're looking at the entire Pima County, over 1 million people, and those numbers are in the teens, and we need to be under that 7 mark and going down in that area. Now when we look at our numbers in a true, sample size, we're at under 5%, and that's what most of the athletic teams in the conference are running. So I'm looking at it more like, look, our sample size is here. We've done all this work. You really can't look at the county number because we're not having fans. We're doing none of that. And, it's just kind of going back and forth.
Right. How are the kids handling it?
You know what? They're handling better than us. They're excited to be back. They're excited to be with their team. Truthfully, the coaches are handling it well. What more can you say? The governing board is trying to protect the kids. Now, whether anybody thinks that's overprotection or not, they're trying to protect our student athletes. So the kids understand it. But, this is 2 weeks now, and baseball's now lost 7 games. Basketball's lost 3. We got volleyball coming up in a couple of weeks, and we have track coming up soon. So we really want to try to get this to figure out if we really are doing the right things. If our numbers don't go up and we're competing, I believe we're doing the right stuff.
It doesn't sound then like there is any difference between how they're evaluating the indoor sports like basketball and volleyball versus the outdoor sports like baseball. It's all kind of like, we got this one number and nobody's playing.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They're not looking at it, hey, we're outside, we can distance. I mean, we moved bleachers. We did everything so that these teams, we X'd off every seat that they could sit in for outdoors. And they still said no. So, they're not using any different metric for any different sport. Everything's been the same right now. But like I said, hopefully we can come to some kind of, middle ground to try to let us get going. I mean, because the only way we're going to find out if we're really, because we've worked real hard, and the only way we're going to find out is if we compete.
Is there a point where you get to that, for lack of a better word, I guess you say, if we can't play in 2 more weeks, then we just don't play? Or is it like, are we just going to continue to go and go and go? And if we get 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, I mean, do you have to have a set number of weeks, do you think, to make it worth a while?
Well, that's a great question. It doesn't, the season doesn't count. So for us to stop anything would be foolish because we're getting our kids in and they're working. We have to look at it just like the NCAA did. We had some, like we talked earlier, we had some football teams that played 12 games. We had some that played 5. And we're looking at it that we want to take every piece of competition we can. The NJCAA has also waived some of the win-loss totals to get into different sectionals and regionals and district. So we want to keep the kids here because hopefully it's going to start to slow down, and it already has, and things can kick in because we want to be able to make those national tournaments if we're allowed to. So we're going to keep hoping and praying that we're going to play next week.
Yeah, like when I was talking, I guess when I talked to Brian Peabody last week, essentially he said, look, we've got the bid to the national tournament, so whatever games we play are in preparation for that event anyway.
And that's true, but we now have to make sure that everything opens up to the point that we can travel out of state, because we've got 3 or 4 automatic bids to nationals, but none of them are here. So, it's going to come right now. You're looking at it going, we can't play a game here. No one's going to let us go out of state. But as of right now, we need to find out if we're doing the right stuff here. We need to compete. We need to do it safely. And then hopefully we can go ahead and travel. Because like I said, we have 4 teams that have already had automatic bids.
Now, who makes that decision on whether or not you can travel out of state to a tournament? Was that the NJCAA or is that
no? That's a chancellor and the governing board. I mean, they have the responsibility of making those big decisions. So it's like I said, I hope we get the opportunity to prove we can do it safely and have done everything we can to make sure our student athletes are safe.
Jim, when I talked to you over a month and a half ago, you were just about to get your first vaccine shot. So I imagine you are through the process now. How did it all end up, and how do you feel?
It was great. And like we said before, I didn't jump a line. They told me to come do it. But it was great. My arm hurt for about 2 days. On the second one, we did Pfizer. My wife actually got sick. She got sick for about maybe 36, 48 hours. 2 days she didn't feel real good and had a little fever. But we both have antibodies, thank God, and it's good, and it worked. So let's just hope it keeps going and people keep getting vaccinated, because that's the only way everything's going to kind of get back to some kind of normalcy. But it went great. Hopefully you'll have the opportunity soon if they can continue to get vaccines here.
And give me, obviously you've seen all your teams. Give me maybe 1 or 2 athletes to watch, or names we haven't heard of that once everything does get going, that we're going to look out there and say, wow, that's a kid that could maybe move on and do some great things on the Division I level.
I'm going to tell you right now, I won't give you a name. I'll give you our men's basketball team is just really doing some. I go to, I'm on campus. So between them and our women's basketball, just doing fantastic. And I'm going to give you another piece. Our baseball team, pretty outstanding right now. Coach Hakami's done an incredible job recruiting. We've had kids transfer in from some big time schools, and they're really going to be. They're going to be really something to watch this year. Soccer, as always, they just always keep reloading. Coach Cosgrove and Coach Kendra Valise, they do a great job. So, I'm telling you, David, it's teams this year. It's teams. And, teams win championships. It isn't always defense or offense. It's teams. And our teams this year, the kids are awesome. They're really amazing. They work hard. They seem to be, really gelling as a group, especially the basketball programs. It's fun to watch their practice. And even Coach Peabody was telling me, he goes, I don't know how great we are, but this is one of the best teams I've ever had. These kids are great. And I said, that's what you need, because they're going to play for each other. They're going to play for you. And I'm telling you, it's going to be an exciting season. When it gets rolling, we're going to roll.
And before I let you go, Jim, just touch on, obviously we had the passing recently of Rich Alday and what he meant to you and your program.
Coach was awesome. When I was the football coach, his office was directly across the hall from mine. So we talked an awful lot, and you get a chance to know somebody who's a very wise man, not just in athletics, in life, and how to handle people and talk to people. And Coach Alday he was special. He was special. And, we're trying to have that baseball tournament here in the near future, hopefully within the next year. And we're looking into putting his name on it. I just think it would be not only respectful, but just a joy, because everybody in Tucson thought the world of the guy. And, God, he coached everyone. So he was an amazing man. It was very sad. And it was also sad to see his brother pass not too long after him. So it was tough for the All-Day family. My love goes out to them. They're wonderful people.
Jim Monaco, he is the athletics director at Pima College. Jim, as always, I appreciate you taking a few moments to join us and keeping us updated on the Aztecs.
Always, David. Thank you.